Rob Dauster here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Fate.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph Children.
DJ Khaled, you know the big DJ Khaled guy?
Hands thrown up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Pastner.
You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal.
They have no swag. They have no nothing.
Terrell McNeil.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 after dark.
All right, welcome back from the lovely Mandalay Bay to After Breakfast. I'm Jeff Goodman. I'm here with Rob Dauster, here with Terrence Oglesby. And
after breakfast, before sleep.
Yeah, there you go. John Henson over there on the far left.
John, thanks for being here,
over
man.
there? We called him the Ultimate Pros Pro, and I don't know. He's
man down.
Hopefully making a lot of money somewhere right now.
Man down.
Thanks for joining us. We have 8 Sweet 16 berths on the line today. Starts out with Arizona Dayton. We got Tom Izzo hoping to pull the big upset over number 1 North Carolina. We got a coach in Dana Altman going against his former team, Creighton. We've got a major Cinderella story with Oakland, potentially. All they got to do is get through NC State. Tons of storylines today in the second round. The first day of the second round. We're presented by BetMGM, of course. T.O., give me your headliner storyline for today. What is the number one thing that everybody needs to be looking forward to?
You hit a bunch of them, but I think the Creighton-Oregon game, not just for the Dana Altman game, but like the styles of how they play, how enjoyable that game is going to be. Oregon's playing as well as anybody as of late, so that game against Creighton, who I think can very much make a Final Four. They've been that good, especially over the last month of the season. And then not only is it Dana Altman, it's Rick Barnes, the Texas-Tennessee game. And is Tennessee going to be able to keep this stuff going? That's what I'm looking forward to more than anything. Going to have another big game from Dalton Connect, but I'm not putting it past him. He's been spectacular all year.
The Oregon-Creighton game is the one that I'm looking forward to the most today. But I think the biggest storyline, Michigan State, North Carolina, right? We have Tom Izzo with a chance to get back to the Sweet 16, going up against the Blue Blood, going up against Hubert Davis, going up against a guy that, frankly, he's coached 25 years longer than, right?
How about this one? Gonzaga, Kansas. One of those two is going to be in the Sweet 16. Most of us didn't have either of them, especially when Kevin McCullough was deemed out of this NCAA tournament. We wrote off Gonzaga a month ago as maybe a fringe tournament team. One of those guys is going to get a chance to at least play for an Elite Eight appearance. Kind of amazing the way this stuff breaks. Sometimes it's all about matchups, right? It's all about matchups. And I think for Gonzaga and Kansas, you know, it's a big boy matchup, but neither team is obviously what they've been.
It's always about the way that the bracket falls for you, right, CO? And I think we have to you have to kind of give a little bit of credit to the bracket when it comes to what Gonzaga and Kansas have been able to that matchup. In fact, one of them is going to be able to get to this piece.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: matchups, styles make the fights. All this, that, and a third. Kansas is lucky they're at this point. There's no doubt. They
shouldn't even be here.
They really shouldn't even be here. It's a bad dunk miss away from it being Samford, and I have no doubt that Bucky and his Bandits would have gone down to the other end and scored. But style makes a fight, all that, this, that, and a third. Gonzaga, after we've kind of, pushed them off the pasture, if you will, like – they're back in it. They're going to be in another Sweet 16 if they just take care of business today against a Kansas team that's as thin as anybody remaining.
Gonzaga, 3.5-point favorite in that game. Forget about the spread. Who do you like?
Kansas.
Because?
Bill Self. He still exists. He's
I
still
get
there.
it, but they're so thin. They are so – listen, Gonzaga's thin.
It's not like Gonzaga is the
deep compared to Kansas.
It's not like Gonzaga is the deepest team in the world.
No, they're not.
And we're worried about Hunter Dickinson, right? Hunter Dickinson had 19 points, 20 boards, 5 assists, 4 blocks the other night.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about him at all at this point.
I'm picking Gonzaga. You want to know why? Because it's either Elmarco Jackson and Nicholas Timberlake needs to have a good game, or Nolan Hickman needs to have a good game. I think Nolan Hickman and Dusty Stromer are much more able if that makes sense. We just haven't seen that much from Nick Timberlake all season long. He played great against Samford. Wasn't good. He was great for what Kansas needed. I think Gonzaga, because of Nolan Hickman and Dusty Schromm, I think they're going to be able to win. Plus that depth across the front line. They're big. They're playing bigger as of late. I think Gonzaga gets this game.
DeJuan Harris has to have a game like he had at the United Center against Kentucky earlier this year when he buries 4 or 5 threes. I think that's the only way Kansas wins this, is if he scores 18, 20 points. All right, first game of the day, Dayton, Arizona. Tommy Lloyd under some pressure here. He hasn't done anything since he's been in Arizona in the NCAA tournament. Well, now you get Dayton. I mean, listen.
A team you should beat.
Should be a layup. Should be a layup. They lost their starting point guard prior to the start of the season. They've done a great job. Anthony Grant's done a hell of a job this year. But this one, come on, Arizona's got, other than Deron Holmes, they've got him at every position. They've got him at every single position. Is this even going to be a game, Ross?
I mean, it'll be a game. I think that Dayton is good enough defensively, and I think that what they run is good enough that they'll be able to keep this thing close. And at the end of the day, what it comes down to with Arizona is Kai Boswell. If Kai Boswell plays well, Arizona's good. If he doesn't play well, Arizona's not very good.
Yeah, I just think they match up man-to-man very well with Dayton. I mean, Deron Holmes, Omar Ballo. Right. I mean, Deron Holmes is not some jump-shooting wizard. Like, is he capable of stepping out and knock down shots? Yeah, but he's capable, sure. But he gets his bones around the basket, by and large. So you're able to put Ballo on him, put Krivas on him some too. They have enough size to throw multiple people at him. And then Keyshawn Johnson, if you want to mix things up, if he starts making jump shots. I just think the way Pelle Larsson's played, Caleb Love obviously is erratic, but when he's good, he's great. He's not just good, he's great. So I think Arizona wins this game. Credit to Anthony Grant for what he's done this year. I just don't think there's enough horses in the barn.
But that's the problem with this Arizona team.
Right.
Is that when you look at them on paper, is that they should be a lot better than they've been. Right? When you look at them on paper, they should be
a national title contender.
In the same in the same conversation as Houston. UConn, Houston, Purdue, all of those teams.
They should be above Houston.
And they're not there.
Right. Because they've been inconsistent all year. And again, you hit on it. Kai Boswell is the key here. I've said it every year. I say it every day. Point guard play. It's guard play for these guys. It's not just point guard play. It's Boswell and Caleb Love, right?
Yes. Yep. It's both of them.
And if they're clicking, they could beat anybody in the country. And if they're not, they can lose to Northern Arizona.
Yep. And Jaden Bradley, whose numbers are great, but he just hasn't really gotten that much time.
I think too much is on Boswell because they don't have another guy who can run the team.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Jaden Bradley, you don't trust to run the team.
Yep.
Like, he can do it, but that's really not – Jaden Bradley's just kind of a junkyard dog type of guard to bring off the bench. Not a point, not a two.
One of the problems with Arizona is that that's not really Kai Boswell either. Like, Kai Boswell –
We thought it was.
He looked so good in the first game that we saw it do. Yes. And – when he's good, he's great. Yeah. And when he's bad, he's terrible. And if you look at what he's done throughout the season, that's kind of the breakdown for what Arizona is this year, T.O.
Yeah. It's when they're balanced and they're moving the ball, they're good. Kylan Boswell has a lot on his shoulders. I just, when push comes to shove, I know Boswell's good. Like, Caleb Love's got to put you over the top. That's just the bottom line at the end of the time.
A Carolina Caleb game and still beat Dayton. I think next game is when it gets then you get Baylor or Clemson, then you can't survive one of those. But if Caleb Love has a 3 for 18 game, which he's been known to have,
sure,
and Kai Boswell plays well, and Ballo takes care of Deron Holmes and doesn't let him go off, you still should win this game.
Sure.
I mean, look, let's call it what it is, right? Dayton is a great story. Yeah. We all love Anthony Grant. We all love this Flyers program. But there are a team that lost their starting point guard, basically goes 6, maybe 7 deep, and probably shouldn't have been in this round if Nevada didn't give that thing away. So,
all right, let's turn to another game. We're going to try to hit on all 8 games today from Ken. Michigan State, Carolina. You mentioned it. It's the game that you want to see. Obviously, you've got Izzo trying to pull the big upset, right? Like, They were a top 5 team preseason coming in, haven't lived up to their billing. Carolina, on the other hand, has completely overachieved as to what we thought they'd be.
Yep.
We weren't sure whether they'd even be a top 25 team. We thought we might see a repeat of a year ago. Now they're the clear favorite. Now they're only a 3.5-point favorite, which looks great.
Well, what's wild is you said that they're the big favorite. They're not even that big of a favorite. It's 3.5 points.
Yep.
And that's one of those numbers, T.O., where you look at it and you say, I think Vegas is trying to get one over on me. I think Vegas is trying to sneak one by me. That feels like a trap. That feels like a trap line.
Well, here's the thing. If this game was in the regular season, a month or two ago, it would have been Carolina 7.5 or something like that, because that's where Michigan State's at. There is an Izzo, big dance Izzo factor into that spread. So
January, February, Izzo, April.
That's right. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But you know what the crazy part about is when you look at North Carolina and you look at Michigan State, first thing you think is tempo, up and down, up and down. You look at it, both top 10 defenses in all college basketball this year, and North Carolina is doing it differently than they ever have. They're back, they're positioning, they're getting to spots quicker. They don't gamble out in the passing lanes and then put themselves in bad spots, which is what Carolina teams in the past would do, but they would be okay with it because they could get a board or get a turnover and then take off and go. This year they've been much better position-wise. That's the big thing for me that's been so impressive about what Hubert Davis has done. But really, this game comes down for Michigan State is Jaden Akins going to be the same guy that he was in the opening round? Because if he's that guy, he adds another element to this Michigan State team that they haven't had all season long, quite frankly. He's had some games, but he has been woefully inconsistent.
What I'll tell you is this. I don't think this is a very good matchup for Michigan State. I think what you need to do to be able to beat North Carolina is have big, physical, athletic wings that can kind of overwhelm Elliot Cadeau and overwhelm R.J. Davis. And that is not what Michigan State has in their backcourt. They don't have the size up front to be able to handle Armando Bacot. They are kind of a dollar store version of North Carolina to me. And this is 3.5 points. I know it's a trap, Goodman. I'm going to step
You're going to fall right into it.
I'm going to go right into that trap.
Dauster's going to
right into it, straight into it. It is what it is.
So I hear you on Akins, and I agree. I'll take it one step further. A.J. Hoggard is
yes,
the key.
He needs to be good too.
Like, Akins needs to play well. A.J. Hoggard needs to do what he needs. And I just don't – I'm at the point now I don't trust Michigan State. I think this was a one-off.
Yep.
I think there's a complete one-off, and everybody's falling for it because of Tom Izzo coaching a Michigan State team that just played well. And everybody's saying, okay, you know what, they're going to do it again. Well, the last time all 4 guys played like this, that's the first time all year.
Yep. No, I think Carolina has been consistent all year. They understand who they are. The roles are defined almost as well as anybody in college basketball. And you guys have made this point, prior to today, but with these guys all being older dudes, like Armando Bacot, been there, done that. Understands his role, not trying to deviate outside of his role. Cormac Ryan, Stanford, Notre Dame, now North Carolina, he's fine with all this. You look at somebody like a Harrison Ingram who just wants to win after being at Stanford and not winning for the first couple of years of his college career. These guys understand their roles. They've completely adapted to it, and you've been able to inject a little bit of that youth with Elliot Cadeau, who, as the season's gone on, has gotten comfortable, has understand, hey, I have to be a bully on the defensive end. He's turned into that as far as getting up underneath guards on the opposing teams. I really like this North Carolina team, and I think they're just deep enough with Withers playing well, with some of these other guys playing a little bit better, like Jalen Washington come in, Seth Trimble's come in and been a spark off the bench. If they can stay within 7 guys, I really like this Carolina team.
The counter to that would be Tyson Walker, right? Tyson Walker is capable of going out and winning a game on his own. You know who's better than Tyson Walker? You know who can out Tyson Walker?
Yep.
R.J. Davis.
Sure.
No, listen, if you want one guy, to me, one guy with the ball in their hands at the end of a game, it might be R.J. Davis.
Yep.
He might be the guy that you pick and you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give it to him because he can make a play himself, or he can even make it for his teammates. That's how good he's been.
Yep.
So the winner of this game gets Alabama in Grand Canyon, the winner of that game. So Carolina, certainly, if they can get past Michigan State and Tom Izzo, they're in a pretty good spot to be able to get to the Sweet 16, to the Elite Eight, and put themselves in a pretty good position. All right, when we come back, former coaches against their former teams. Next, after breakfast.
The best month of the year is here, which is why you need to know that we are now partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 all through the NCAA tournament. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not that bet hits. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you get up to $1,500 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Most importantly, we do have some fun stuff coming for the conference tournaments and especially for the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, and what I love the most, a nice parlay boost for anything you could possibly imagine betting on in the NCAA tournament, from odds and getting an at-large bid to Final Four futures to the highest seed to make to the Sweet 16. I'm calling it right now. BetMGM is the king of the prop bet for your March Madness needs. So go download the BetMGM app, use the code FIELD, and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request: the best way to support the Field of 68 and our content you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the pod, like and share the YouTube videos, tell your friends about us. It helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back here at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. We are Field of 68 after dark, but it's actually after breakfast. I'm Jeff Goodman. I'm here with Rob Dauster. Terrence Oglesby. John Henson will be joining us later on tonight. Right now, he's kind of breaking down all his wagers for today, so he couldn't make it.
He's grinding film is what he's doing right now.
Might be grinding film.
He's grinding film.
He could be.
He's got to make sure he understands the intricacies between what Washington State is going to do defensively and how Iowa State is going to try to attack it. He's got to look
deep in the book. He's deep in the book.
That is the next game on the docket. Two teams that we did not expect. If you had told me before the season that we'd have a matchup with a Sweet 16 berth on the line between Washington State and Iowa State, I would have said you are absolutely
you're crazy,
out of your mind. But Kyle Smith, TJ Altshuler, two guys that are probably in the equation for National Coach of the Year.
They need to be mentioned. Yeah, both of them need to be mentioned.
I'm not saying they're winning it. Yeah. I'm saying they're two of the top five guys. They've done so much with the hand they've been dealt. All right, so this one, again, probably comes down, for me, who makes shots.
Absolutely.
If Iowa State can make some shots, and my guy Milan made some the other day.
So to me, it kind of comes down to whether or not Kyle Smith can figure out what Iowa State is doing defensively. I feel like he is one of these guys, Kyle Smith that is, Washington State's head coach. Is one of these guys that's going to be able to kind of put together something offensively where he will be able to game plan. You give him a couple days to be able to figure out what he's doing here. Whereas Iowa State is tough, they're physical, they're going to grind up in you, and that's kind of who they are as a defense.
Yeah, they do have enough. They have enough offensively, Iowa State, but I wouldn't put it past Washington State either. But I like what Jeff said about making shots. They're going to have to today because the way Iowa State loads up on the ball, they force turnovers with their pressure. But Kyle Smith, the fact that they won the regular season in the Pac-12, correct? Yeah. It was them, and they were right there with them.
They were a game out.
They were second.
They had a chance up until the very end.
But then they beat Arizona twice. They beat Arizona at Arizona and dropped a couple of bad ones. But, he's been able to figure out these offensive schemes enough all year to get enough wins to be second in the Pac-12. But it's Iowa State's so tough defensively at this point. And I want to say that Andre Jakimovsky played at Iowa State. Did he not?
Who?
Jakimovsky.
Sure.
He did. I think he did. Did he not? I think he did.
No, I don't think he did. I don't think he did. But, again, this is a game that probably is going to be a grinder type game.
Sure.
At the end of the day, this is probably going to be a game in the low 60s. Hopefully it comes down to the end. Here's what I'll say is, to me, Iowa State has so much confidence right now.
Yep.
I mean, think about how they've been able to kind of flip their season, even at the end, and take it to a different level. When they blew out Houston in the Big 12 title game, they're thinking, there's nobody we can't beat. We just ran Houston off the court.
All I'll say is this. 6.5 points in the game where the total is 128, and we know how good Iowa State is defensively, and we know what Washington State wants to do offensively in terms of pace, in terms of total possessions. I don't know why you wouldn't take Washington State in the spot.
I hear you with the points. I probably would. I'd probably take, and I might even take the money line. I might even take a little bit on the money line here, but I just think Iowa State's the better team. I think they've shown they can make shots lately. They've got enough, and their point guard, man, Tamin Lipsey is one of the most underrated, understated players in the country, not just point guards in the country. Local product. Remember, when they lost Tyrese Hunter, we thought they were dead. We thought T.J. Otzelberger would never get this thing back. And he gets a local kid that nobody really wanted.
Yep.
And that kid has been everything for them.
And he's a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year for the Naismith
awesome.
Award. So, like, he's finally getting his due. He's the point of attack defensive guy for this Iowa State team. He's big, strong, bulky. He does a lot of good things. It's kind of the perfect Otzelberger guy, really, like with his body type and how he pressures the ball. Keyshawn Gilbert's been a terrific find. I mean, he was good at UNLV. I wouldn't say he was great at UNLV, but he's been really, really good for Iowa State this year. And they have enough shot making with Momcilovic. I would think that Iowa State wins this game. That's
right.
Probably the most boring game of the day, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's probably not the one most people have saying that they're, I can't wait to see this one, unless you're a fan of those two programs. I will say, though, Iowa State, man, they travel. They travel.
Sure
My
do.
guess is that'll be a huge home court advantage for Iowa State.
Well, it's happening in Omaha.
Correct.
Which
So
is
it's gonna be
right over
full.
the border. Yeah, right over the river.
So that's where you get when you look at the points in that one. That's why it is why it is.
Fair enough.
All right, we've got a huge Cinderella-type game.
Yeah.
Next on the docket at 7:10 Eastern Time. It is Oakland against NC State. How about that? NC State was out.
Yeah.
Out. Nowhere near the bubble a month ago. And they roll off 5 straight in the ACC tournament to get in. Then they win a first-round game. Now they have Oakland for a chance to go to the Sweet 16.
Here's the interesting thing about this matchup is that NC State has kind of made their run, T.O., as this team that was overlooked, as the underdog, as the sleeper, as the Cinderella, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They won 5 games in 5 days as a team that wasn't supposed to win the ACC tournament title. Then they won the first home game as the 11th seed. And now they're taking on Oakland, and they are the power conference team. They are the favorite. They are according to BetMGM, a 5.5-point favorite as of this very moment.
Man, what went into that? Yeah, I'm a little shocked that they're that big a favorite. I think
That
NC
big?
Yeah, 5.5
You
points.
still got an ACC power, T.O.
No. I thought you said NC State's the favorite.
Yeah.
NC State's a favorite by 5.5.
Okay, I thought you said the other way around. I was a little shocked there. No,
Oakland's not going to be a favorite against anybody in this tournament.
no. The way NC State's controlled the front court, controlled the glass, DJ Burns walking refrigerator, ballerina feet, he's a load to handle. And not only that, he causes so much attention that when you have to send a second defender, Mohamed Diarra has been a beast on the boards because he has nobody blocking him out. NC State, they have enough guards. DJ Horn. I think Mike O'Connell's been a good player for them. Transferred over from Stanford. He hit that big shot at the end of regulation in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, he did.
And to put it into overtime, I want to say, was it in the championship game?
Down goes my phone.
And then on top of that, they have a lot of good pieces. They have a lot of length. They have a lot of athleticism outside of DJ Burns. And there's a buzz that happens in the building when the big fella touches the ball. People are on their feet for post touches. I can't remember the last time people were on their feet for post touches. It's amazing.
Here's the most important question of the night, guys. How many threes is Jack Golke going to get up today? He got
Over
20.
under, let's go over under 4. Over under 4.
4
threes?
threes attempted?
No. How many threes will he make?
I don't care about how many is he going to get up.
Yeah.
How
He
many
got up
is he
20
going to shoot?
last game, right?
I bet it's not 20 because
No.
I would venture to say that.
I'm gonna
Kevin
say-
Keats is not going to let him get 20 shots.
Yeah,
20 shots. 12,
NC State has some.
14?
I would say 12 to 14. That's where I would put him. I bet he hits 4 or 5 of them. 4 or 5 of them.
That's the bigger question.
Yep.
9.
He makes
You think he hits 9
9.
threes?
You're out of your mind.
9. He's going to do it.
All right, side wager on that one?
9.
No, he was fun the other night. I just think the dream ends for Oakland. Unless Trey Townsend has one of those March moment games.
Yep.
That's the only way Oakland wins this. He's got to be the best player on the floor and not even close.
Yep. And when you look at Oakland too, like it's a bunch of guys who know how to, like Rocket Watts is a good player, good setup guy. He made that big pass out to the corner. You talk about Trey Townsend, who's been, I think that's the matchup I'm more concerned with for Oakland than Golke getting 20 rocks off. Like I think Trey Townsend going up against Muhammad Diarra is a little bit different. Like he's got length, he can jump.
Not a guy you game plan for.
He is exactly the guy you game plan for.
You just chase him off the screens.
No, but he's their trigger guy. Whenever they're going to go on 5 to 10 point runs, he's the guy doing it. It's nobody else. You game plan for him. Like you can. I think you can guard Trey Townsend one-on-one with an occasional double if you want to. But he's 6'6", and he's going up against all that length in the front court for NC State, and they could throw bodies. Like Ben Middlebrooks off the bench. They're huge.
They shoot 40+% from 3.
And
they probably need to shoot 50% from 3.
And Golke hits 10.
Golke goes 9 for 14. You're going to come back to me and say, Rob, I'm sorry. You know ball.
If that happens,
if
that happens, they didn't game plan for him.
Yeah.
He is the game you get.
Let's move on.
He's the guy you game plan for.
2 of the final 3 games of the night include coaches going against their former programs. The first one is Rick Barnes going against Tennessee. Remember, what did Tennessee do after 20 years going to the tournament basically every single year? They ran Rick Barnes out of Austin. It looked like he was done. He gets the Tennessee job, and man, has he done an incredible job down in Knoxville. Yeah. Incredible. Now he gets revenge against his former. How badly do you think Rick Barnes wants to beat Texas? Not just because they have a Sweet 16 berth, but he can show them, listen, you thought I was done? You thought I was lazy? Look at me.
Look at me now.
Yep.
I got Dalton Connect. You don't got it.
Right, exactly.
You don't have Dalton Connect. No, I think that they win this game.
That's what Texas is missing. Like if you gave Texas right now Dalton Connect, they can. I don't know if they can win the whole thing, but that's the one thing they're missing.
Yeah, I was going to say. They might be able to get to a Sweet 16. If
no, they'd be able to get further.
Connect. No, like, the reason why Texas beat Colorado State is because they were a level above them in terms of athleticism.
3 levels above them in terms of athleticism.
And length, and all the physical tools just did not work for Colorado State there. And Tennessee's not going to have that problem.
No.
And Tennessee also is going to have the best player on the floor. I think Tennessee rolls. I think Tennessee wins this game by 15. But this is honestly, I'm doing the whole, you got to bet the money line underdog. Yeah. Tennessee minus 6.5 is my favorite bet of the day.
Yeah, I think so too. Here's the thing, though. Texas does have that explosive scorer in Max Asmus. That's what kind of scares me a little bit. And they have rim protection just kind of lingering around down there. Dylan DeSue's not as bouncy as he once was, but Caden Shedrick's down there as well. Like, there's enough to cause some concern when attacking the rim. But Dalton Connect, I feel like this is a prime game for Vescovi to have a nice game, for Ziegler to go off a little bit, for those ancillary pieces for Tennessee to kind of get going, because I feel like they're going to be so clued in on where Dalton's at, those other guys are going to have more opportunities today.
Yeah, the only way Texas wins this game is if their backcourt clearly outplays Tennessee's.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, both of them have to play at a high level. Max Asmus has to make shots. Tyrese Hunter has to get him going in transition and get a lot of easy buckets. That's where Texas can exploit Tennessee. All right, Duquesne, Illinois. The Trevor Valise game here.
It's the end of the road for
It's the end of the road. This is it for Keith Ambrose. There's no way.
I'm not saying no way, but
it's been 19 years since the Illini were in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament.
That streak ends today. And the reason I say that is what Duquesne did to beat BYU is blow up all of their actions. They are very good at sending the athletes out at these teams that want to run a whole bunch of sets, run you off the three-point line, take you out of what you want to do, make life difficult, kind of force you into playing one-on-one basketball, right?
That's where Illinois specializes.
Do you want to know what Illinois wants to do? They want to play one-on-one basketball. Yep. They call it booty ball for a reason.
Yep.
No, you call it booty ball.
No, Brad Underwood calls it a booty ball.
No, hey, look.
Trevor calls it booty ball. Everyone calls it booty ball.
Talk about
you.
two different teams, though. Like he alluded to it there.
Yeah.
To prepare for two completely different styles if you keep Denver and Duquesne.
Yeah,
They're playing with house money, though, T.O.
Yeah.
Listen, there's no pressure on them. They're going to go out, and you know what? If somehow Terrence Shannon, they can get him to settle. I think that's the key if you're Duquesne.
Well, that's the great equalizer is that Duquesne does have length and athleticism along their perimeter, right? And if they are able to cause problems, T.O., for Domask and Shannon, they got a shot. They got to punch a shot at this thing. I just don't think it happens.
But even some of their better players, like Dusan Mahorcic, like how's he going to match up with Coleman Hawkins? Like he's just not. I'm kind of. I don't see how this moves on, but this is March. There's always that, chance. Day Grant was great in the first round. You're going to have another big game from him. I just feel like there's enough for Illinois and Domask and Terrence Shannon, and he's playing as well as
I'm probably
anybody.
Really going to regret saying this, but I think Illinois is the team that nobody is talking enough about. Like, they have 4 different guys on their roster that can win a game all on their own.
They're the second best player in the country.
You know who they are?
I mean, Terrence Shannon, before Dalton Connect became Dalton Connect.
I don't know if you were on the show when I said this. They are Miami from last season. Miami couldn't guard the 3 of us last year. Yep. And you know what they did? They just figured out, Jim Larry-Nager figured out, okay, this is the Jordan Miller game. Okay, this is the Isaiah Wong game. Okay, this is the Norchad Omier game. Okay, this is the Nigel Pack game. And he just let his guys cook. And you know what Brad Underwood does this year? He lets his dudes cook.
Yeah, he does. He does.
And they are better defensively in theory than Miami was. And when they are locked in, look, I think they're.
So you're saying that 9.5 spread is going to be shattered? Like you give the 9.5, but not even worth.
Well, it's 10.5 now, but that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. But,
it is, but I feel like sometimes those teams that pull the upsets in the first round, it comes back to
There's a bit of a letdown,
that's exactly what it is. And I think they're going to come back to earth. Right. Duquesne is. They're going to come back to earth. And I'm in on Illinois.
Yeah. I kind of am too. I've always said the lack of point guard play and the fact that these guys have to manufacture so much on their own worries me. But they got enough guys who can do it.
And Domask had a triple-double last game, too.
Yeah, he's terrific.
He's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty good. He's been awesome.
Last game. Yeah. Last game of the night.
Can you check your sources?
I'll check KenPom. It seems good.
The nightcap is the one that T.O. talked about when we started. The Oregon-Creighton game. Dana Altman, listen, another team that wasn't in the tournament 2 weeks ago. And they had to win the Pac-12 tournament to get there. They look healthy-ish. As healthy as they've looked in a while. Nafali Dante's healthy.
You can get rid of the ish.
Well, they're still missing a couple guys off the bench that they should have had. But Jermaine Kuznar was unbelievable against his former team. Now Dana Altman coaches the Oregon Ducks against his former team, Creighton. Listen, the Blue Jays, T.O., when they're clicking, there aren't too many teams that can beat them. And they got Ryan Kalkbrenner down low. That's going to be the matchup I'm dying to see. Nafali Dante, a veteran, against maybe the best defensive big man in the country in Ryan Kalkbrenner.
If you matched them up man for man, up and down the line, which team is more talented?
Oregon.
It's close. It's not as far apart as you think.
No. Oregon.
I don't know if it is Oregon.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, yeah, both teams are really talented.
Yeah, I think they're close.
And I think Oregon, who took a little while to kind of learn what they were.
And get healthy.
They're playing,
thing. And get healthy.
Yeah, Infali and Dante Kalkbrenner, that's you want to talk about 2 elite rim protectors. Who's going to hit jump shots this game? Because when you have to pick who has to hit jump shots, I'm going to go Creighton. I think Creighton wins this game. I don't know what the spread is. You have it on your sheet there.
It is 4.5. 4.5 Creighton. I think Jackson Shellstead needs to have a big game here.
He does need to have a big game.
It's not going to have a repeat 40. Let's face it, if he gets 20, that would be great for Dana Altman. Mm-hmm. But the key to me is going to be,
he's going to have to get him on Trey Alexander, too.
Those guards should be able to get numbers against Creighton's backcourt. And for Creighton, listen, I've said it all year, Stephen Ashworth is the guy.
Took him a while.
If you're going to want to win and go deep in the tournament, you're going to need a consistent Stephen Ashworth.
100%.
And he had to learn how to play with the rest of these guys. True. Like when he came in, he replaced Nimbard, who leaves to Gonzaga. And it's like, is he going to be the exact same guy? Well, no. Now I would venture to say that Baylor's more dangerous, or not Baylor. I was going to talk about Baylor-Shireman, but Creighton's more dangerous this year because now it's a willingful 4 guys can take it and initiate the break. That's what's so scary about Creighton. That's why the floor is so spaced out. Not only that, Baylor-Shireman today, he's going to be going up against length. Like, he's going to have to continue to board at the same level, continue to be as effective as he has been against some really long and athletic dudes from Oregon. I think the floor is going to be spaced out just enough, and I think Creighton's going to win this game. 4.5 betting stuff, I don't know. I would pick Creighton to move on.
All right, there you have it. We went through all 8 games today. Make sure you join us again midnight tonight Eastern. We'll be back to recap all the action. Field of 68 After Dark, sponsored by BetMGM. We're here at Mandalay Bay. We'll be back at Mandalay Bay. I'm Jeff Goodman. He's Rob Dauster. He's Terrence Oglesby.